Let's talk about when the need for validation falls away. For me, this has occurred in a number of stages over the course of many years, and it continues on as I discover more and more subtle types of validation seeking. For example, right before I began awakening, I started to see how all of my behaviors were in some way a form of validation seeking. I was a huge people pleaser, was voted nicest in my class in elementary school. For me, I wanted to be liked and thought of as a good person, and that desire motivated most of my behavior. Right before I began to awaken, I started to see that the behaviors I was engaging in to please people, to get validation, weren't good for me. And this was perhaps one of the most difficult phases of the journey for me. But I began setting boundaries and engaging in behaviors that felt right to me, regardless of whether or not someone else validated me because of them. So this validation seeking can be a big part of what keeps us stuck. And moving beyond that initial stage of validation seeking, we start to see that we seek validation in even subtle ways. Maybe some people more than others. I feel like we all do it to some extent, but I definitely sought validation a lot. But some of the more subtle ways I seek validation are like if I send an email to someone and they don't respond right away, I feel like I'm not being validated and it hurts. Or even in the creation of this YouTube channel, it's brand new and it hasn't gotten that many views. And the part of me that's seeking validation feels hurt by that. But when validation seeking starts to fall away, you tune in more to the actual experience, to the engagement in behaviors for their sake only, not for whatever outcome you hope that they will lead you to. And so this has never been more true than with recording these audios, because I have no idea if they're helpful to anyone. I have no idea if anyone will listen to them. And I'm okay if no one ever does, because I'm recording them just as much for me as for anybody else. This is like my video diary. It's a place for me to talk about things that I can't talk about elsewhere. Being able to share these true feelings, even if I'm sharing them just with the space in the room that I'm recording them in, is enough. No outcome is needed. No validation is needed. Nothing is needed. And it feels so good to be able to just have experiences without needing them to be anything, without needing someone else to say I'm okay for having these experiences. So that's what it feels like when validation starts to fall away.